For cheap GTA shark cards and other games, check out g2a.com, there's a link in the description, and of course use my discount code AZUO for an extra discount. Hello guys, what's going on? My name is Sam, or Chaotic, and welcome back to another GTA 5 video here on my channel. Now in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing the all-new Weenie Issi Classic, a brand new vehicle releasing to GTA Online in the San Andreas Supersport Series update. Now as I'm making this video, this vehicle has not been released yet in GTA Online, but by the time this video gets uploaded to my channel, or by the time you guys are watching this, it may have been released. If you're not too sure, of course, go ahead and check out the comment section, where I'm sure the answer to this will be. Anyway, but basically the idea of this video is to showcase this vehicle and go over a few things about this vehicle that you guys need to know before you buy it, so you can determine whether it's worth buying and spending money on or not. So let's go ahead then and get straight into things. And I guess the best place to start this video off is with the price. So once released, this vehicle will be available on the Southern San Andreas Super Autos website to purchase for $360,000. Making the Weenie Issi Classic the second least expensive vehicle from this update, just behind the Volcar Fagaloa that cost just $335,000. Now I guess when you compare this against content prices from recent updates, $360,000 is relatively inexpensive when it comes to a new DLC car. But when you compare this to the original Weenie Issi, of course based upon a more modern Mini Cooper, this is a lot more expensive. The original Weenie Issi that's been in-game since the original launch in 2013 cost just $18,000 from the Southern San Andreas Super Autos website, so this is 20 times more expensive. But this vehicle of course is new to the game, and inflation over time has caused prices of new content to increase drastically. But either way, I think it's safe to say this classic version is certainly a lot more desirable for many different reasons. For starters, it is a classic and retro version, of course based upon a 1970s Mini. It may be a very small car, but certainly a super cool one, and one which is very desired and has been demanded now in GTA Online for a while. Now when it comes to customizations, this car has plenty of them. In fact, it's one of the most customizable vehicles available in the latest updates. So apart from the standard customizations, things like the brakes, the engine, and the armor, we've got things such as the bodywork trim. You can change the color of the trim, which as you can see, goes around sections and panels of the vehicle. I ended up going for the full primary trim, but in fairness, options like the full secondary option are pretty nice as well, depending on what look and what offset you want to go for. You can also change out the front bumper on this vehicle as well, and again there are plenty of different options and choices to choose between, of course giving you plenty of variety depending on what look and what style you want to go for. And this vehicle also has a selection of sticker bomb panels as well, so for those players out there that like that sort of thing, there are plenty of those options available for this vehicle as well. But in front bumpers, I selected the painted street bumper. It was my personal favourite, and as you can see it maintained the British styled horizontal license plate. Then going around to the back in the rear bumpers category, again a few different options here, but I selected the carbon bumper with guards, which fits mud guards to all four wheels. The next customization option is chassis, where in this category you can fit rally lights to the front, of course giving it a very classic race style. You've also got the option as well to change out the interior in this category, but annoyingly you have to choose between one or the other. You can't fit lights to the front of this and change out the interior as well. Ideally, I would like to have had the option to do both, but unfortunately you can't, so I went with a light upgrade. This car also has a selection of exhaust upgrade options as well, with some pretty cool ones and some crazy ones, as you'll see throughout the gameplay. So my personal favourite one was the carbon twin boot cut exhaust, but you can do things like fitting these huge big tip exhausts which take up the entire back end as well. The signal replacer exhaust option was pretty cool too, where as you can see, instead of having the left and right turn signals, you can have exhaust in those light holes instead, which I thought was pretty awesome. But moving on quickly to fenders, again, loads of options in this category, 13 different options to choose between, with the option of fitting these extended wheel arches over the wheels. Now it's worth pointing out, the wheels are already slightly spaced out, so when you fit these, they don't look too out of place, like they can sometimes do so on some vehicles which have the option in GTA Online. Anyway, but as you can see in the grills category, again, loads of different options to choose between. I went for the stripped down grill, it was my personal favourite, but again, plenty of choice in there. Then as for HUDs, we have 14 different HUDs to choose between. As you can see, I'm scrolling through all of them. What look and what appearance you want to go for, there's certainly plenty of variety in this category. Now, although in the gameplay I selected the secondary HUD, I actually went back afterwards, which you'll see in a few moments, and selected the performance HUD instead. This car also has a variety of different liveries available for it as well, and some pretty cool ones if I may say so myself. I thought the weenie one was pretty nice. There was also a rusty option as well, which will look great if you guys are into Snapmatics, and the white stripes one too. Initially, I did select the Performance Weenie livery, but I went back afterwards after respraying the vehicle and going back to none because this car also looks great standard as well. And speaking of respraying, that is the next customization option available for this vehicle. And again, this vehicle looks great in a range of different colors. I went for lime green because that, of course, being the iconic Mr. Bean color for this car, but honestly, you could have selected any color for this and it'll look great either way. Now, I really wasn't joking when I said there were loads of customization options available for this vehicle. We still aren't done yet. The next option is roof. And again, in this category, we have loads of different options, of course, allowing you to change the color of the roof. And although I did like the checkered roof, I ended up just leaving it on standard. The next customization option is skirts, and again, plenty of different options and choice in this category. As you can see, I went for the street skirts. Spoilers is the next category, and as you can see, there are things like roof racks, ski racks, surfboards, and stuff like that, which surprisingly, even fitting these gives you that small traction boost. So if you guys want to, don't shy away from fitting those if you want to go for a classic look, because you can still take advantage of that performance extra by fitting any of those options. But I went for the big wing, as you can see, which was maybe a little overkill, but I liked it nevertheless. Anyway, but after upgrading the wheels and tinting the windows, that was it for the customization on the Issi Classic. So like I said, there really are a lot of customization options available for this car. It is definitely one of the most customizable vehicles in the San Andreas Supersport Series update. And this car really reminds me of the Panto as well. When that was first released back in the business update, I believe, it was very similar to this, having a load of unexpected customizations. This definitely being a lot more customizable though than the Panto, but in many ways is very similar, because despite the amount of customization options available for this, in the terms of its performance, its speed, and its handling, this car isn't really all that great. So this car is front-wheel drive, as to be expected, but when it comes to cornering, this car is pretty awful. In fact, it has a pretty wide turning circle for the size of the car. Even going around corners at fairly low speeds, it wants to slide out, and you'll often see a lot of tire smoke. You definitely really have to slow down for corners, but unfortunately the brakes on this car aren't all that great, which I guess is to be expected for the age and era of this vehicle, the 1970s. Now, in the terms of this car's top speed, well, unfortunately, despite being in the compact category, it is nowhere near the top. In fact, this car's top speed is just 95 miles an hour, which I guess doesn't really put it too far down on the list, with most compacts only having a top speed of around 100 to 110 miles an hour, but it's definitely one of the slower ones in the category. And even just getting there to its top speed of 95 miles an hour feels like it takes forever. The acceleration on this car certainly isn't a strong point either. Now, supposedly, when this vehicle is released into GTA Online, we may also see the release of a new adversary mode alongside it, named Vespucci Job. This vehicle will of course be featured in it, and of course the name of this adversary mode, Vespucci Job, is a reference or a spin-off of Italian Job, a movie that was released back in 1969 featuring this vehicle. Now, this game mode or adversary mode is basically Cops and Crooks, a mode that was featured in GTA 4. But in this game mode, they'll supposedly be two teams, one team being the robbers and the other team being the police, who yes, will be able to dress up as police officers and use police cars. The idea being you have to chase down the robbers driving these cars, which shouldn't be too difficult, and stop them before they complete the challenge in the given time. Anyway, but to finish this video off, I want to do some comparisons between this, the Weenie Issi Classic, and the Panto. Both vehicles, of course, being fairly similar, both in size, speed, and the category they're in, the compacts category. So to start things off, let's do some straight line drag races down at the airport. Now, typically, sports cars and supercars will do this in around 20 seconds or so, sometimes a little less than that. Well, the Weenie Issi Classic completed this in 28.01 seconds, with a top speed of 92 miles an hour by the time we reached the end of the runway. So not quite the slowest compact car that we have in GTA Online, but certainly not too far away. Then as for the Panto, well, this car was a little faster, completing the drag race in 27.12 seconds, but only just a second quicker. It did though reach a much higher top speed of 96 miles an hour by the end of the runway. So if you guys are looking to do some small car straight line drag races, then definitely choose the Panto over the Issi Classic. Now the Panto in no way, shape or form is a good performance car or one of the better compacts that we have in the category, but I guess it just goes to show you how bad the performance really is of the Issi Classic. Now as you guys can see in a side-by-side comparison, yes, these two cars are very similar in size. The Panto is a little taller, but the Issi Classic is maybe a little wider and a little longer. So the Panto still remains to be the smallest car that we have in GTA Online. So then, is the Weenie Issi Classic a car that I would recommend buying? Well, I think it all comes down to what you want the car for. This car is definitely very, very cool. There is plenty of customization for it, and it's a classic mini, a vehicle we've all wanted to see in GTA Online for a while. So if you guys are happy with the car for what it is, then definitely consider getting one. At $360,000, it's not too expensive. But unfortunately, apart from just having some fun with it and novelty purposes, this car is pretty useless. It's not very quick, it has a very slow acceleration, handling and cornering wise, this car is one of the worst that I've used in the compacts category. But what do you guys think about the Weenie Issi Classic? Do you guys like it? Will you be buying one in GTA Online? Yes or no? So go ahead and leave a comment right now. If you guys could drop a like on this video as well, it would of course be greatly appreciated. It helps me out a lot. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do, because I upload all the latest and the greatest Grand Theft Auto 5 content. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.